Okay, hi everybody. I'm here with Senator Jeff Merkley from Oregon. Look at that.
Great to be with you.
It's really good to be with you too. This gentleman just spoke for 22 hours on the Senate floor, historically long. I don't know if it was the longest, but it was up there.
Not the longest, but the third longest in history.
It was.
And I did it because we have got to ring the alarm bells across America about this authoritarian takeover.
Yeah.
You know, people keep thinking, oh, the way you lose your democracy is men with guns storm the Capitol.
Right.
That's not the way it's been happening the last 2 decades.
Right.
It's been happening with authoritarian presidents. There's an authoritarian playbook, and they implement it, and you lose the checks and balances and your freedoms. And it starts, very first rule of the authoritarian playbook is get rid of the referees. So
Right.
President Trump comes in and he immediately fires the IGs.
Yeah, the IGs, Inspectors General, just so you know what we're talking about here.
17 of them gone, violating the law to do so because you're not supposed to be allowed to fire them.
Right.
And then the second thing is put loyalists in charge of all your departments. So
Yep.
you have these incompetent amateurs and in some cases just truly destructive people running important departments.
Yeah.
And this goes on. Like then you take on the press and you see the president using, for example, the power of mergers and broadcast licenses
Right.
to tell the press what to do.
Yeah.
Using research grants over our universities, security clearances to influence law firms, personal lawsuits that he puts against people and say, settle this and change what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this. And then weaponizing the judiciary
Yeah.
with an enemies list.
Yeah.
And maybe the scariest authoritarian playbook rule of all, which is prepare to send the troops, the military, into the streets
Yeah.
against protesters across America, peaceful protesters, and that's what he's trying to do right now.
Right. And so you did your 22-hour speech as a way of sort of saying, like, hello.
Yeah, ring the alarm bells.
Wake
ring
up.
them loud and clear, everybody. Our Constitution's at greatest risk since the Civil War.
Since the Civil War. Okay. And I think that people often, when they hear the word authoritarian, they get afraid and a little like, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to go watch Netflix for 4 years and I'll be back. So talk about that a little bit. I want people to feel like what they do makes a difference. Talk about it.
Well, let me start by saying the 7 million people who came out to the No Kings marches.
I
Oh
was
my
there.
God.
Woo.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because really the experts on watching how republics become authoritarian states say two things have to happen.
Yeah.
There has to be a big protest the first year.
Okay.
Because otherwise people think, well, maybe this is normal, maybe I'm exaggerating,
Okay.
maybe they aren't really shredding the Constitution.
Okay.
And so that's where No Kings comes in.
And we've had at least three big protests and then a bunch of other smaller ones.
And the most recent one, the largest single-day protest in American history. And we
Yes.
need more of that to come this year.
Yes.
Second of all, it's the next election.
Okay.
Because the next piece in the playbook
Yeah.
is to rig the elections. And so what's the president doing? He's doing trying to put together a national voter database so he can
Yep.
manipulate the database.
Yep, yep.
He says he's going to send out people to monitor the 2026 elections, which we think is a strategy to intimidate.
Yep.
He is gerrymandering the hell out of the House of Representatives to try to preserve disproportional power.
Right. Yep.
And he's got a campaign going to try to stop vote by mail because vote by mail can't be manipulated on election day the way voting at the polling booth.
Right. You can't scare somebody who's voting by mail. You
Yeah, I
can't-
mean, a precinct, if you don't want people to vote in, say, an inner city, you move the location, you put it where there's no parking, the machines don't work, the personnel don't show up to run the place, you send intimidators for the people in line, all of that. So
Right.
we can't do that with vote by mail. So, these 5 strategies now of already striving to rig the election in 2026.
So it's when you say rig the election, because I think when most people hear those words, they think, oh, get a microwave to change the electronic votes. No, you're talking about sort of very analog rig the election. Have people there to intimidate people at the polls. Eliminate parking. Make the machines broken. Like these are things that they're sinister, but they're concrete. We can see them when they're happening. Yeah.
Yes, and there's actually one more thing that
Okay.
we just heard about yesterday, that Dominion, the electronic voting machine system, has been sold to a Trumper.
Yes.
And what does that mean? I mean, maybe that is rigged, the electronic results. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that all of this together is straight out of the authoritarian playbook.
Yes.
That's why we have to compensate through our activism and turnout in the next election, because if we don't take it back, we may be locked into an authoritarian state for decades to come.
Right. Now, and people might say, oh, well, when you say next election, you mean 2026, but there are elections sooner.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, and I'm hoping really a very successful election next Tuesday.
I am also hoping vote, vote, vote.
Yes.
Yeah, very important. And so what do you want to say to people to make them feel sort of that their actions now can matter and that as bad as things are, we can get through this?
Oh, I tell you that what we see around the world is when citizens turn out and say, hell no, not here, no to the authoritarian takeover, no to the president deciding what programs can be funded. I mean, the Constitution has the power of the purse sits with Congress.
Right.
So every time you hear the president saying, well, we're canceling this program because it's not in line with the administration priorities, that's an authoritarian violating the law and violating the Constitution.
It's
so
illegal, right? We'll just say the word. It's illegal.
So it's like tempting to be on the couch and put a pillow over our head.
Yeah.
But we can't save America's republic doing that. So we have to be off the couch,
Right.
fiercely holding our electeds accountable. I mean, that pressure I heard from my town halls. I did 36 a year.
Whoa.
So I had every county, and people would say, do more. And I'd say, well, we're doing this, this, and this. It's like, not enough. Find something else to do. That's what
Right.
led to that through the night speech on the authoritarian, the pressure of the people.
Do you guys hear that?
So pressure your other electeds as well, and then join an affinity group. Because to be angry and alone is to be depressed.
Oh, absolutely.
To be angry and organized with others is to be energized and effective. So let's be energized and effective. It's the only way we're going to save our republic.
You hear this? Listen to this guy. And you can join an indivisible group. You can join a swing left group. You can join join your local Dem club, or there's all kinds of places you can join. An affinity group, right? As you said,
Yep.
It's great. And let's talk about our current moment just for a second. Because I know it's insane what's happening here, and I think it's important for the American people to understand that most of what is happening here, if not all of it, does not need to be happening, right? You want to talk about that for a second?
Oh my goodness. No, so you may have heard that the president just canceled the SNAP benefits for the next month. And so here's the law that we passed that created a contingency fund that said never should people in America go hungry.
Okay.
You know, the least affluent families, the people most oppressed, we're not going to let these things shut down when there's a governmental shutdown.
Right.
So we have $5.5 billion sitting in a fund. We have congressional instructions to use this fund. We even have another law that says that tariff revenues can be used to make sure people don't go hungry.
Oh, did you hear that? There's a law saying tariff revenues can be used.
And the president likes to brag about tariff revenues.
Yeah, he sure does.
So I mean, I don't know what else he's using them for, but the idea that the president took down the website, or his team did, right?
Yeah.
Took down the website that said, yes, we know we have to use these funds, so don't worry. And instead said, you know what, we're canceling SNAP. My state of Oregon, 210,000 children. When children don't have food, and we're talking about a month-long situation, they don't learn anything, for sure. So it's bad for their nutrition, bad for their health, and bad for their education.
Not to mention they're just children, right? Like they're children.
In
just feed the children.
In what world does a president of a We the People republic use children in this fashion? Like we'll make them a negotiating chip,
right?
And put their health and their education at risk. No, this should never happen in America. I can't think of any Republican colleague in the Senate would say, I think it's just fine that children in my state go hungry.
Yeah.
No. So we have to lobby them to be on the phone and tell the president, on this one, you have gone way over the top.
Yeah.
No matter what else that I might think, it goes over the top all the time.
Right.
Many Republican colleagues are like, well, we can live with that. We can live with it. You can't live with this assault on our children.
100%.
It's the Make America Hungry agenda, the new MAHA agenda. Let's say hell no.
Yeah. Using children to own the libs, right? No, that should not be a thing.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about the contingency fund. Before I let you go, let's just talk for a second about healthcare. People are alarmed. People are getting their new healthcare costs, and they're insane. They're insane. No one could be expected to pay. I heard one person describe it as a second mortgage, right? And so, but still we have Republicans saying we can't afford to extend these premium tax credits. What do you say to that?
Well, it seems like they had money to give $150 billion to border and $150 billion to defense, and to give massive tax breaks to billionaires, some $30 trillion in additional debt over the next 30 years to do tax breaks for billionaires. And we can't fund the basic cost of a nutrition program or a health care program. No, that is this is not government buying for the people. It's a billionaires win and families suffer agenda. And when you hear that in a republic, you know it's no longer a republic, it's become an authoritarian state. Because in a republic done by and for the people, you would never do massive tax breaks for billionaires and to pay for it by cutting nutrition programs and basic health care. So this is an obscenity against the people.
Yeah. All right. So my last question I'll ask, because I always ask this, is I have a newsletter where I tell people to call their representatives, and you've talked about this a bit, but people will often say it doesn't matter. Senators, Congress members, they don't listen to those calls. In your office, what's it like? How do you deal with constituent calls?
Every single day, I get a bar chart. And on basically the 5 main issues people called on, and there's a blue side and a red side.
Okay.
And the blue side represents the number of calls that kind of support my position.
Okay.
The red number opposing it. And back in 2009, 2010, when I first came to the Senate, the Tea Party was activated, and they were calling, and the bars were just huge red bars and tiny little blue bars.
Okay.
Now it's big blue bars and little tiny red bars. And I want to give a point of encouragement here.
Yeah.
Because this year in my town halls, 5 times as many people came out as last year, mostly to say, save our republic. So people are getting it.
Yeah.
Second point of encouragement. The blue side is activated far more, and that's reflected in my phone calls.
Yeah.
And third point, if you look at the elections that have already been held, we've been doing 10 to 15% better than we did against Trump. So again, let's maintain and build this blue energy, because the next election will determine whether we save our republic.
No pressure, guys. Okay. Thank you. Really, truly, thank you so very much for speaking to me. That was delightful. And all right, guys, we'll see you later. Bye. Thanks.